So I'm Catherine Cole. I'm from Western Canada, where it's 6:53 in the morning. It's almost time for me to get up. I don't want you to think of this as a session that is delaying our lunch. What I would like you to think of this as a, what do you call it, an amuse-bouche? So we're going to set up this session as a way of fostering greater conversation over lunch. So I have two little short exercises for you. We're going to actually physically get up and move around. So put your stuff down and stand up. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 4, 6, 8, about 30 people. What I would like is 15 volunteers who are comfortable with role-playing, who are interested in thinking about what it would be like to be a migrant or a refugee, your choice. Think about where your own character, where you would like to be from, why you're migrating wherever you're going, these kinds of issues. So I need 15 people on this side of the room who are migrants. The others could be over here. Those of you who are less comfortable with the concept of role-playing. I'm giving you a choice because I know some people don't like these kinds of exercises, right? The fact is, some of us don't want to get out of our skins. 3, 6, 9. Are the rest of you in this group? 12. Are you in this group? I'm not. No? I might have enough. Okay, so these are the migrants on this side. Just start thinking, while I talk to this group, about developing your character. Who are you? Where are you from? How old are you? What is your situation? Okay, so just think. So this group, you're also role-playing, but you're role-playing as something closer to yourself. So you're going to be role-playing the role of somebody who works in a museum and who is interested in developing a project with migrants, and you are going to be the interviewer. So you're having your first contact with a migrant. Well, hopefully you've set this up and you've had some preliminary conversation, but this is actually the formal interview, where you start talking to the migrant about what their experience is and how they might like to engage with the museum. So as I say, this is a warm-up exercise for you for the second part of this. Now what we're going to do is break into pairs. So I'd like each of you to pair with one of these people, preferably someone you don't know, because believe it or not, it'll actually be easier for you to do this with somebody you don't know. All right, so go find yourself a pair. Okay, don't start the conversation yet, just find a pair.
We are a migrant.
You are a migrant, you're not yourself yet.
But we're not refugees.
You can be, whichever kind of migrant you want. I'm a migrant. I am from Toronto, born and raised in Ontario. I live 3,500 miles away from where I was raised. I'm a migrant. In the same country, but it's a different world. Okay, so now you're in your pair. Does everybody have a pair? Okay, we need a few people here need pairs. Okay, once you have a pair, come over here so we can see who's left. We have. Yeah, okay. So it looks like we have. Well, I'm not sure the people in the back. Okay, here we go. Come and take a migrant. Come. So, yeah. Okay. So it's always hard to do an exercise where you want people to talk, but not yet. so okay. Now what I'd like you to do in your pairs is just to give some space between you and somebody else. So go find a different corner in the room. Not yet. So you'll find a place to talk, and then really just in 5 minutes. Take the first minute to think a little bit about your character, because even you as the museum worker needs to think about, why am I talking to this person? What am I doing? So just think for really 1 minute. It's just an abbreviated thing. Normally you'd spend weeks thinking about this, but you've got a minute to do it so that we can spend 5 minutes actually talking. So find your spot, think for a minute, and then I'll let you start the conversation.
Do we have like more than one migrant, one museum staff?
Well, you could, or except they can also just do it by themselves, but. They're fine, they're partnered, it's okay. Okay, go to your corners, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds like most of you have decided just to talk and not to think. You thought already, okay. That's fine, so your 5 minutes of conversation can start now. Okay, hello? Let's just suspend it. We need to suspend these conversations for a second. Could I have your attention, please? Okay. Woo, that's good. She's good. I've always wanted to be able to do that, but I can't, so there you are. Okay, so that's just to give you a little taste of what it's like. And I don't know whether those of you who were acting as the museum worker have done any of that kind of interviewing before. So, I mean, for those of you who have, this is an easy exercise. If you haven't, even this level of it might be a challenge for you. For those of you being the migrant, it's a question of, how much of yourself personally are you prepared to share with a total stranger right off the top? So it's always a challenge for me. I'm always the interviewer and going in there and trying to set the person at ease and build that trust and develop that connection with them so they feel like they can talk to you. But it's, it's a process, and it's not something really you can do in 5 minutes. But I just wanted to sort of wake up your brains a little bit. Now we're going to move into 6 groups, and we'll mix people up a bit. So just keep that feeling of what you were just like in your mind. And what I'd like to do now in these groups is, you're all museum people again, and think about, if you were to develop, you can choose whether it's a research project, whether it's an exhibition project, or whether it's some sort of a community-based program, or something that has elements of all 3. If you were thinking about developing a program relating to migrants, what would you like to do, and how would you start? So just to have that conversation for 10 minutes before we break for lunch, okay? So in order to break, Sure. Okay, so in order to break into groups, we're going to count off to numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll have 6 different groups. So group 1 will be here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just so we have, again, space between us. When you get into your groups, you're all museum people. You're going to think about this experience you just had talking to a migrant or being a migrant, and think about what kind of a research project, an exhibition, or a program you as a museum might develop with a local group of migrants or refugees. And we're just going to talk for 10 minutes.
Once we've just met? Or
No, because you'll be a mixed group, so it won't necessarily be the people you've just met. But that might inform it. You might say, I just met this really interesting person. Okay, so everybody, I want you to say your number, because if you say your number, you'll remember it, okay? 1, say it.
1.
2.
2.
3, 4,
5.
6, 7, 9, 10.
No, sorry, you're just thinking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. I'm just thinking, this is a great exercise. Okay, let's do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Great, 1, 2. Then you're 3.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, you don't want to be a part of this? No. Oh, okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1? You're 1? You don't want to do it? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, you can join in. Okay. Anyway, somebody be 1 back there, please. Okay, 1. No, you're 1. 1. Whoever is, just somebody say 1. You're 1, okay. Then 2.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, 1. 1.
2, 3.
Whew, that was hard. Okay, 1 over here, 2 in the middle, 3 in the back, 4 in the back, 5 in the middle, 6 in the front. I usually come up with a title. You don't need one until then. Okay, we'll just hear back briefly from each group about what you think are going to be the first steps you need to think about to develop whatever project it is you're working on. So I'm going to start here with the mobile mic here, and we'll move it here, and then we'll just go around the room, okay? So you can stay with your group in case whoever is speaking needs some reinforcement as you go. Somebody take the mic.
Doesn't matter. Okay, so
Total anarchy here.
so we were talking about having a whole, specifically consultant for migration, and then we were talking about what's going to be team, the migration team, and then we said maybe we can invite migrants and let them to discuss what kind of team they want to display in the museum.
Okay, so in your case, the first step is you've got a bit of an idea of something, you need to bring in the migrants and have a conversation about where to go. Okay.
Well, we have been talking about a sort of amnesia which is there in cities with people always tend to forget that the roots of people who are already living there are all over the world, and that those stories, the past stories, should be more and more connected to current stories. So that is our first step to investigate how contemporary and historical stories connect.
Okay, so you start by doing some research on the past.
Yeah.
So that's it. I hope that this has encouraged you to have a good conversation over lunch now that you've met some people.